Great pleasure to come here again on Business Live. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Riafi. In this edition of the program, Minister for Monitoring and Evaluation dismisses claims by some members of the minority the removal of levies on import of spare parts will lead to dumping substandard products in Ghana. Also in the bulletin, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers happy with tax review on petroleum products, but says government must rationalize several other taxes on ex-factory prices of the products. And also, EcoBank Ghana signs partnership deal with RIA Money Transfers to offer remittance services across the country. These are the headlines, and of course, plus other stories, all packaged in this bulletin. Don't go away, we're coming back after this. Hello again, thanks for staying, welcome back. Claims by some members of the minority that the removal of duty on importation of spare parts will lead to Ghana becoming a dumping ground for substandard materials is said to be misplaced. Announcing the 2017 government expenditure and budget estimates, Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta revealed the government will scrap import duties and spare parts, a development the minority criticized, saying it will only open up the country for dumping.
According to Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, the move by government to scrap such a levy on importation of spare parts is part of measures by the Akufo-Addo administration to make Ghana a business-friendly state. Though many have lauded the idea, some members of the minority in parliament think it's rather going to expose Ghana to substandard goods from abroad. However, Minister of Monitoring and Evaluation Dr. Anthony Akotose rejects the claim.
Quality goods? Not at all, not at all. This is mostly to local businesses. Those who are here are going to benefit. Government can remove some taxes, not all. The excise tax has been removed. The 17.5% special tax has been brought down to 15%.
So are we going to see a total scrap in the next budget, maybe 2018 or 2019?
Early to tell. We are starting laying the foundation for what we will do for the next 4 years. This is a big start.
Dr. Akotose has also been explaining the sustainability of one of government's flagship policies, the $1 million per constituency annually, which is under the Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication program. He is confident the policy will remain sustainable to enhance the development of overall constituencies.
Already part of our capital expenditure. We are reprogramming to the constituencies. We have last year 1.6 billion capital expenditure. Is that 275 out of that is being sent directly to the communities so that it can be bottom up. That's all that's being done.
How sustainable is it going to be?
Very sustainable. It's capital expenditure, tax revenue.
But you are removing most of the taxes. You are reducing most of the taxes.
When businesses produce, they will earn more profit. Consumers who are hired from the business production will also pay more income tax. Sometimes tax reductions brings more revenue.
Some of the macroeconomic targets announced by the president include an overall gross domestic product GDP growth rate of 6.3%, non-oil GDP growth rate of 4.6%, overall fiscal deficit of 6.5% of GDP, among others.
And also the finance minister announced the abolition of the excise duty on petroleum products as well as a special petroleum tax on petrol products.
Government has decided, as pledged, to review these taxes to provide relief for businesses. The following specific measures shall be implemented in the short to medium term. With this budget, abolish the 1% special import levy. Abolish the 17.5% VAT on financial services. Abolish the 17.5% VAT on selected imported medicines that are not produced locally. Initiate steps to remove import duties on raw materials and machinery, for production within the context of the ECOWAS Common External Tariff Protocol. We will abolish the 70.5% of domestic airline tickets. We will abolish the 5% VAT on real estate sales. We will abolish excise duty on petroleum.
Well, in this regard, Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, Duncan Amwa, said the review in the tax elements would impact significantly on petrol prices.
We were all along asking for reviews of some of the amounts. And if you recall, specifically, we were emphatic on special petroleum tax, SPT. We insist that it should be rounded off to a specific figure, an amount, 20 pesos, 30 pesos. Then we can all go to bed knowing that it won't overrun itself when the other variables shoot up. What happens with SPT in percentage terms is this. When ex-refinery price goes up or import price goes up, 17.5% would naturally also go up. And so we would welcome the 2% reduction for a start, but we can assure you that we'll be having further discussions with the government on some of the issues that we are still asking for. Repositioning would have been good. If you move SPT from the current ex-depot pricing position to ex-refinery price position, there is some net gain that would accrue to all of us. Unfortunately, repositioning or redefining has not been done. It's been reduced. That is welcoming, but like I indicated, the industry will be a lot more happy to have the government square off that figure instead of the percentage terms based on invoices that you would have to pick every now and then. We think that the overall impact from what we have seen today is about 3.2% reduction in fuel prices per the scrapping completely of the excise duty, which is at 3 pesos, and then you come to the SPT reduced from 17.5 to 15. That's about 2.5% also knocked down. 3.2% sounds okay, but trust me, with the current spate or trend of fuel pricing in the country, we'll be demanding for a lot more from the government in the coming days.
There seems not to be so much mention on the toll debt levy, which is one of the key issues you've been fighting for. Are you disappointed?
In fact, yes. It is an abridged version of the entire budget. I have received the full statement. We would preview to look at what the government intends to do going forward. As far as the overwhelming taxes are concerned, we have said that the toll debt, we would have to sit again and look at it. 12 years of paying toll debt, sadly, toll seem to rather be owing a lot more the more we pay. So we'll be asking a lot more questions of the toll debt specifically, which is now embedded in the energy sector in a way.
All right, so away from the issues of the budget, the central bank has unveiled the new 5 Ghana cedi denomination to mark the 60th anniversary of the bank. The new note, which would be in circulation from the 7th of March, has some key distinctive security features that are aimed at protecting it from other counterfeits. They are also to make the note accessible and recognizable by the visually impaired. George Rafi reports.
This is the Currency Management Department of the Bank of Ghana. They handle the issuance of new notes and also managing what is in circulation. The department is currently working on the new 5 Ghana cedi note that is expected to be in circulation next Tuesday. Well, I know you wanted to see it. Yes, that is it. This is the new 5 Ghana cedi note that will be in circulation from next Tuesday.
There's knowledge sharing across central banks to incorporate some of these modern security features in our notes so that we can avert any of those efforts to counterfeit our money. And this is what we are doing now, more like an experiment to capture the latest features in security, security space. And that's what we've done with this opportunity to commemorate 60 years of existence as a central bank. So as you saw in the presentation, there are several features that's on there, watermark features, and other security features that we have.
Someone would ask that also, what's the rationale? Dr. Kweji Agri, a very distinguished missionary, educationist, and some would say an intellectual, cutting across all boundaries and even across nations.
A real visionary indeed. I mean, I'll just pick on two things. For someone like him to have talked about the significance of educating a woman and the role of women in national development so many years before the discourse is now settled that women are very important in our development, I think for me is very instructive. Then he was the first to have said that, you know, when you educate a woman, you educate a family or a nation. But when you educate a man, you educate an individual. And see, after so many years, then he had known that. He had a vision and he saw that now it's settled, that those countries that involve their women in their development process do better than those that alienate women from their development process. And I think what Dr. Agri said, as a Ghanaian, then I think is very inspiring to have known that, and we ought to celebrate that. But the other thing, it's the whole sense of education or even teamwork, you know, and unity. Again, he had said that, you know, when you see the black and white keys of a piano, playing them separately really does not produce the kind of music that you would enjoy. But when you play them together, there's unity. I mean, you take away any discordance, and you have unity of purpose, and you produce good music that you enjoy. For me, also, I think as a country, as Ghana, we can see that the unity as a nation that we are enjoying now and being a star of the continent, precisely because of some of the things he had said. And I think we are celebrating that as well to inspire us moving forward as a united country, regardless of whether you are from north or south, or you belong to this party or the other party. As a united, you know, country, we stand to do better, develop faster, and be the star that we are.
So next Tuesday, you can walk into any major commercial bank and grab one of these notes. It looks like I have mine here, and maybe you can catch me if you want one. From the Currency Management Department of the Bank of Ghana on the Spintex Road, this is Georgia Affe reporting for Joy Business. I have mine here. Grab me if you want one. That's in my pocket.
Away from that, commercial banks in the country are kicking against moves by some telecom service providers which are venturing into lending and other services reserved for them. Telecom companies have been trying to duplicate the operations of mobile money service functions of commercial banks. However, speaking with Joy Business, Chief Executive of the Royal Bank, Osei Asafo-Adjei, insists some telcos are moving into areas reserved for banks. This, according to him, is likely to bring an unfair competition among the industry players if left unchecked.
Developed the necessary platforms, and we are in competition, and we are trying to liaise with some of the telecommunication companies so that we can work together. I think that the dichotomy between the banking industry and the telcos in terms of the mobile money business is not helpful. We should rather come together and try to serve our customers, because the telcos are not registered to operate as banks. So, and sometimes I think they veer beyond their boundaries in terms of their approved lines of business. For instance, we hear some of them are even trying to lend money to some people, which I think is traversing the boundaries of banking. So I think that if the telephone companies and the banks can come together, I think that it will create a kind of synergy that will be beneficial to the banks, the telcos, and the public at large.
Now it is now official. Telecom company Airtel and Tigo will now be operating as one entity. The parent companies of the two firms, Bharti Airtel and Millicom, have signed an agreement to combine operations in Ghana. This is coming after the media reports on the merger earlier this year, which Airtel Ghana had denied. but in a joint and official statement released this afternoon, the merger was confirmed and expected to make a new entity the number 2 operator in the country. There's more in this report.
Per the agreement, the two parent companies, Airtel and Millicom, would have equal ownership and governance rights in the combined entity. The combined business is expected to serve nearly 10 million customers, of which 5.6 million are data customers. It is also expected to generate revenues close to $300 million, making it one of the largest communications companies in Ghana. The transaction is subject to approvals from the relevant authorities in Ghana and the satisfaction of customary closing conditions. By integrating the two networks, the combined business is expected to provide Ghanaian customers with a major boost in both rural and urban network coverage, in turn translating into better voice quality, high-speed data services, and reinforced network stability and resilience. Apart from enhanced mobile financial services, enterprise customers, including large corporations and SMEs, are also expected to have access to a diverse portfolio of world-class solutions.
Now, EcoBank Ghana has signed a partnership deal with RIA Money Transfer to provide remittance services to customers across the network in Ghana. The new partnership will also allow EcoBank Ghana customers to receive remittances directly into their bank accounts. According to a World Bank report in 2015, Ghana received about $2.1 billion in remittances. There's more in this report.
According to the World Bank report, remittance flows into developing countries, including Ghana, amounted $441 billion in 2015. This is expected to improve further. The partnership between these two organizations will allow EcoBank serve its customers across the world through the RIA transfer services. Dan Saki is the managing director of EcoBank Ghana.
And EcoBank therefore requires a strategic partner to facilitate transfers from these countries. We believe our collaboration with RIA is a strategic one, as RIA has a strong network in both the United Kingdom and the USA. This partnership will afford Ghanaians living in these countries the opportunity to use the service to send money to friends and loved ones in Ghana. As a bank, our focus is to continuously align with our strategic partners to enable us to respond to our customers' needs swiftly, effectively, and efficiently. We firmly believe that partnering with RIA Money Transfer to offer this service to our customers will be the key to helping us achieve our objective of providing accessible and convenient banking, as well as promoting financial inclusion across all levels of society.
On his part, Managing Director of RIA Africa, El Haj Malik Sek, is optimistic that the wide range of customers on the EcoBank network will help strengthen the nation's banking environment.
We have already many banks in Ghana. We are working with about 20 banks in Ghana, but all of them do not have the same network that EcoBank has and the same reputation. But we do have already very, very good partners in Ghana. Flexibility, but Ghana is an important country, and banks also are very, very keen in welcoming and in working with the diaspora. And the Ghana diaspora is extremely dynamic. They're always thinking to send money back home to their lives, and these are part of Ghanaian, even if they are living abroad. So now this business is now liberalized.
By this partnership, customers of EcoBank can now make transfers to Ghana from any RIA sending location worldwide.
Let's now cross over to our research analyst Bertha Atubiga on phone. Yesterday, the finance minister announced some relief to traders on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and instead of the 17.5% VAT rate, it has been cut down to a flat rate of 3%. Bertha has joined me on the line. Bertha, if you heard it, what news or what good does it bring to the stock market?
Okay, thank you very much, Emmanuel. Let me say that yesterday's budget was one of the best that we've had, and the content actually motivated everyone across, businessmen, institutions, and even individuals, because in one way or the other, we all going to benefit from it. Now, talking about the stock market and the budget, now last year, they were trying to implement capital gains tax, whereby when an investor invests on the stock market and then is selling off, whatever capital gains that you've made on your investment will be taxed by the government. But this has been scrapped off, and this is going to be a very big incentive to investors who want to invest on the stock market or the equity market. And this year, we already have some other reasons which I've mentioned on this show that's actually going to boost the stock market this year. And this particular news coming in is going to boost it further. So
now,
to get more investor confidence in the stock market. But with regards to the 17.5 that has been reduced drastically to 3% for the VAT and NHIL, that one is also very, very, very good. And it's mostly for traders. For instance, if you're going to buy something at the market or you're going to do some business with an institution or a firm, you'll be charged 17.5%. That's going to be the VAT or the VAT that you're going to pay, and NHIL that you're going to pay on that investment or business that you're going to do. And if this has been reduced drastically to 3% and it's cut across, then it means that it's going to give more people the opportunity to do business, and you're going to do business at a relatively lower cost. Because this 17.5% was actually inflating the prices of goods and services that you have to do as an individual or as an institution. And it's a very good thing. I can say that yesterday's budget was a very positive one.
How does it impact? How does it impact on the cost of equities that are sold on the stock exchange?
Yes, like I earlier on mentioned, the impact is positive because one, every investor or every institution really wants to cut down on the tax that they are paying, or really want to reduce their tax. Now, if I invest in FML at, for instance, 11 cedis 20 pesos, and by the end of 6 months, FML closes at 11 cedis 50 pesos, or even 13 Ghana cedis per share. The capital gains that I have had, that's the difference between the buying price and the price at which I'm going to sell, I was supposed to pay some tax on it. And if this has been cut off, and I'm not supposed to pay any tax on the extra income that I'm going to earn from the equity market, then it will motivate me as compared to probably any other investment that I'll be doing or any other trade I'll be doing to be paying 3% tax and national health insurance levy. I mean, it's going to impact the market positively.
All right, thank you very much, Bertha. Let's hope it restores that vibrancy that the Ghana Stock Exchange has lost in the past. And that's Bertha Tubika, research analyst. We're taking a break. We'll come back with the interview of the day. You're welcome back. Now, food security has been a major source of concern for agri stakeholders as well as the general public. The General Agricultural Workers Union, GAU, is worried Ghana could face an acute food shortage if government fails to create a ready market for food crops. Edward Karewe is the General Secretary of the GAU.
It will take a long time before we can actually produce enough to feed all of us and then have the rest to export. And for that matter, not to talk about imports at all. I mean, that could even be an ideal situation which we may not be thinking about rationing it. We can have selected foodstuffs that we may not need to import, and yet we have sufficient to export, but not everything.
What's the state of food security in Ghana? You said the state is dire, very, very bad. Do you agree? Do you not agree?
Well, if food security has to be anchored on the level of domestic production, then I would agree with you 100%. Food security situation in Ghana is not dire. It's not so serious, but it's fragile in the sense that once we depend on the international market, should something happen to the international market, then we could immediately have the shock, and that we can now run into crisis.
All right, so those were some updates of the international currencies as they fared against the Ghana cedi, as well as the commodities on the international market. And that will be it for this evening's edition of Business Live. Thank you very much for joining us throughout the week. Of course, we pause for a break here and we'll come back on Monday for more developments in the world of business. My name is Emmanuel Apwaji. Good evening.